Welcome back to another episode of Dear Single Mama. I am your host and founder, Clarion Brown, and I'm as always, super excited to be back with you for another episode. Listen, this year is going to be full of surprises. This year we're going to have some fun. And hey, after all this COVID mess, maybe even an in-person event. Listen, y'all, look, I'm so excited about what God is doing, and I'm even more excited for what he's doing with my podcast. And so today I have a special guest with me. Listen, you guys, and she's going to dive right on into it because we all have been wondering this question, especially as single mothers during this pandemic and wearing a mask. She's going to talk to us about some dating. Like, who doesn't want to hear about dating, right? So today I have Dr. Casandra Henriquez, aka Coach Cass. She is the founder of the Real Love Network, the author of the bestseller Princess Zara's Birthday Tradition. She teaches professional women who are super busy and driven how to have a happy and a fulfilling love life. She has been featured in Women's Day, Essence, and Fast Company. You can often find her jamming to reggae and soca vibes with her husband Andy and her daughter Ava. Make sure you follow her on social media to get the latest on how to live your best love life. Thank you so much for joining us on today.
Thanks for having me, Clarion. I'm ready.
Right, let's get it. So, the burning question that I know a lot of probably single mothers have right now: how do you even know or begin to know when we're ready to date?
So here's the thing, right? For the most part, all of us have been hurt at some point in time in our lives. So I think it's important for us to deal with that hurt, right? So whether it be therapy or that self-work that you need to do to be able to help you get over your ex, whatever happened there, it's so important. Sorry, I have alarms on alarms.
No problem.
So I believe that it's so important for you to take the time out to heal. Now, the healing process is one that really never ends because here's the thing I know. You're going to think of your child's father throughout your life, right? It just is what it is, right? So when we talk about, hey, moving on, I think one, yes, we start the healing process. And then two, we make a decision if we're open to love again. Because the thing I don't like is when we just do it by going with the flow, like, if it comes, it comes, and we just tag on to whatever comes next. I think there needs to be a clear decision that says, you know what, I am ready to open my heart again.
Yeah. That's really good. So you have to be willing to be vulnerable and open again.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. So just, can you just tell the people just a little bit about you? I've heard your testimony and I think it's so amazing to me. Do you mind sharing your testimony with the women so that they know, like, you know, this lady, she just ain't up here just talking about, she's been through some stuff.
All right. So, once upon a time, hey y'all, just all in my business. Here we go. So once upon a time, I was dating a guy that I thought was the one. Y'all ever thought somebody was the one before? Hallelujah. So for me, I just knew that I knew that he was the one for me. So we went on trips. We had fun. We talked about a future. Like girl, like this was it. This was the one. And then one Christmas Eve, I got a call from a friend. He said, "Hey, are you sitting?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? What's going on?" He said, "You know that guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, what about him?" He's married.
Wow.
Girl. Ooh. Oh my gosh. So my heart shattered in a million pieces. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever gotten a call where you felt like the bottom fell out, whether it was regarding your faith, your finances, or your future. And for me, I was just like, wow, okay, I got to keep moving. So I kept dating, right? I kept dating, through my healing. I was still dating. And I was just like, wait a second, like, why do I keep dating the wrong one after the wrong one after the wrong one? I said,
Ooh.
okay, something's got to give here. Like, this ain't it. And so my defining moment came when I got maybe my 29th wedding invitation. And it's just like, okay, is everybody getting married? It didn't matter
Right.
the age, the stage, the race, the weight, none of it. And so for me, I said, okay, something's got to give here. So that's when I decided that I needed to become a student of love. Just like I invested in travel, just like I invested in business, just like I invested in what colors look good with my skin tone, I can invest in my love life. So what that looked like for me is I read almost every book I could, right, on relationships, about 100 books on relationships. I went to every marriage conference I could find as a single woman to attend. I interviewed couples who had been married for over 25 years, but still liked each other, because a part of me felt like it just wasn't real, right? Like, all y'all are so grumpy. I don't know if you guys are selling this thing. Is this really what I want? And then I interviewed successful women who were successful in business and in love, because a part of me felt like you couldn't do the both of them at the same time. So all of that, plus my own self-work, really helped me to attract my now husband, who is awesome. His name is Andy. He's the master storyteller. And we have a beautiful baby girl named Ava. We call her Ava the Traveler, even though a whole pandemic has messed with that whole brand, but it's all good.
Yeah.
But really being able to look up now, I see that women often find one of two lanes. They fall into one of two lanes. One, they're so focused on their kids, they're so focused on community, they're so focused on impact and everything else that love comes last. And guess what? They're getting older, right? 30, 40, 50. My eldest client is 69. So it's like literally they keep putting love off. And hunting, we got to be able to pay it some attention, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other side, there's the woman that's praying in her back closet, like, Lord, bring me my Boaz. But they know that they will not open the door even for the Uber Eats guy. So where in the world is this Boaz supposed to come? I'm starting to call it osmosis dating, right? That osmosis dating where he just seeps through the wall, and says, here I am, the Lord sent me. And it's like, you would spray him with mace before you said hallelujah. Right? So there's a third lane that I really believe exists. And that's where I come in, right? I support women. I had a business coach ask me one time, what's the best way that you could support your crew, the people that are called to you, the women that hear your voice are in alignment with you? I said, it's really being able to be in their back pocket, to be a part of their journey, to create a community, to support them in this thing called love. Because love is not a one-time thing. I'll tell you that one of my clients just got engaged today, and I'm so excited for her. And she's decided that she's staying a part of the Real Love Network, because at the end of the day, it's not just about catching a man, right? We get so caught up in, let me find a man. Okay, but then what happens after that, boo? What happens after that? How do we maintain? How do we thrive, be happy in a relationship versus just existing, which I know the majority of your listeners have probably been there, right? Like just being with somebody to be with somebody. No more of that, right? I want you to experience real love. Oh, I'm searching for
a real love.
Hey.
Man, that's so good. Like, I think, and especially like during this time of like in a pandemic, I really think more women think that they're just going to pop up. I was talking to a friend of mine. She's probably going to kill me if she listens to, I'm not going to mention her name, but she was like, girl, how am I supposed to get found? And we wearing these masks. He can't see me. I can't see him. And I just thought that was so funny to me. But something that you really said, that especially as single mothers, that we tend to often of a time, to be real, we tend to forget about us. And so what you said was that, what are you going to do after you love? Are you just going to put your all into that, or are you just going to continue to thrive? And I think that that's so important, because, and it's a great reminder for me and for us all, to just be like, you know what, this is not the end. You're married, you know, a successful businesswoman and a wife, but you still are successful and you still have your businesses. And so I think that was a really good point and a really good reminder for me and for us all. So not to just focus so much on love, but to still be able to thrive in purpose.
I definitely did do an Instagram reel though on how to still flirt with your mask on.
Oh,
I'm just saying, you gotta get the smile. People can still see your smile. You gotta work on your Tyra Banks smiles.
oh,
It can still happen, boo. It can still happen. Listen, I still got it. I went out the other day. Now I know not everybody can essentially go out, but
mm-hmm.
went out for the first time in a long time to an outside venue, and I was just dancing around by myself as my husband went to the bathroom. And best believe I caught somebody's eye trying to check me out. I was like, let me hurry up and look at the floor and stop dancing real quick because I am not inviting you over here. But,
Right.
I was just in my own world. So something about the joy within you as you go out, like you will attract the right
Mm.
person to you. But where is the joy? We get so hurried. We are in such a rush. We don't take us time to stop and smile and acknowledge those around us. The world is filled with men,
Yeah.
right? Filled with men. But somehow we say there are no men. Have you opened your eyeballs? Have you really come to a place where you are joyous in and of yourself? Yes, even if your kid is like gnawing at your leg, because I know mine does, how do you still maintain that joy? That's so important.
That's really, really good, So like once we go through that, and ladies, I will put her information, her Instagram, all of her social media handles and website in the description for you guys to go and check that out, because that's an interesting reel. I'm gonna go check that one out myself. But so
Huh. So one thing I realized is that when you're grown, you understand what feels good. And
mm,
being in a land of confusion,
mm-hmm.
in a land of I don't know if that's a good place to be in the beginning of a relationship. I just want you to pay attention to when you meet someone and things just click and you have a good time. It shouldn't be the struggle bus. It shouldn't be like well, if I squint my eye 2 times, I guess I enjoy his company. It
Mm-hmm.
should just be something that you're like, wow, this really feels right. I enjoy spending time with this person. That's the first place that I would say that you need to spend time and see where you are.
So like learning to um what's the words? How can I say this? Not to push anything, but it's natural.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It'll come
Exactly.
natural.
Now, I do have something called the love deck where I definitely tell everyone to get because it's the 60 questions that you should ask before choosing the one. Sometimes we have too
Mm.
superficial conversations, right? Like, oh, what do you like? I like purple. I like the movies. I like to eat. Oh, I like to eat too. You're like, oh my gosh, it's love. No, baby. Y'all you both have to survive. You got to thrive with eating. But how do we get to deeper level questions without feeling like you're interrogating someone, and that's where the love gets
Mm.
in, because then it's just fun. It makes it just fun. Yeah.
Makes it just fun. And I think often of a times, I mean, just not even just single mothers, but women in general, we forget that dating is literally like it's a test and you're just having fun. But I think especially nowadays we get so caught up in like getting to the serious stuff first. So what do you do? How much do you make? Like it's so serious
Mhm.
that we forget. And just, again, just not single mothers, but women in general, we forget how to have fun. So that's a very good thing. Make sure you guys definitely check that out. The love deck. Okay, so what are some things or some signs that we can know as far as for ourselves that we're not ready? Because you just told us how we know when we are ready, but if we're not ready, what are some signs that we can look for within ourselves possibly to be like, nah, sister girl, you need to sit down somewhere?
Seems like you're ready. Hey, girl, are you ready? You may not be ready to go all the way. So, here's the thing. I believe in being a part of community, which is why I created the Real Love
mm,
Network, right?
mm-hmm.
And sometimes you do need the proper environment and support system to help guide you and support you along the way, because I don't know if we're ever really ready right? We kind of
Mm.
hesitate because whether it's a swipe or a meet in person or an introduction or a date, there's still a part of us that feels like, I don't know about this because we're scared of rejection. We're scared of judgment. We're scared of not being accepted for who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So really and truly, I'm not sure if we're really ever ready, but we push through it and we
Mm-hmm.
face the fear anyway and come out good on the other side.
That's really good. That's really good. So how long have you and Andy been married, your husband? She's married.
So Andy and I met in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Where we at now? What is this? 2021. So we're about however many years that is, right?
Right.
We've been friends, right? In 2011, we re-met at a friend's barbecue. Okay. Well, let me tell you this. We met at a conference with 15,000 people. And
Wow.
I don't know if that's going to happen anymore, right? But there were 15,000 people at this conference, and there was this glow around me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And he just had to touch the hem of my skirt. Now I had no issue with blood, but he had to touch the hem of my skirt.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to get to know me. Can I talk to you,
Hey,
girl?
that Jodeci. I love Jodeci.
And I remember him coming to visit me one day. It turns out we were both in Anaheim, California, but we were both living in Florida, an hour away from each other. And if you know anything about people in Florida, if you drive over 15 minutes, you're too far. So one of the first things he said when he got to my door is like, man, you sure do live far. So we decided that we'd just be, friends. So I'd see him off and on because we were both in a network marketing company.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'd see him at different meetings and things. And we re-met in 2011 at a friend's barbecue where we challenged each other on the Wii to a Michael Jackson song, a dancing song. And I won no matter what he says. Right. So we decided to keep in touch more often. So we talk every week, hey, how's it going?
Mm-hmm.
And it was good conversation. And I remember one day after he realized that I was single, he said, hey, well, maybe we should get together because I had moved by then, right? He says I became geographically desirable. Just rude. I was about 15, 20 minutes away from his house. So he said, oh, well, maybe we should get together once a month, bounce ideas, iron sharpens iron. I said, sure. And that's what led to our first date. I was hungry. I said, yo, I'm hungry now. Let's go. It was after church. He's like, now? I was like, yeah, no, not now. Like right now, I need to eat. You said let's go eat. So let's go eat. So we ended up having like a 6, 7, 8 hour date on that day. And we shut down the restaurant. And I remember him coming out to my car to walk me to my car. I said, oh man, I need to get some oil in my car. He said, oh, let's go do it now. And girl, acts of service is my love language. So I was like, yes, oh my gosh, yes, please. And so, we then ended up going to Walmart, having a hula hoop competition. He won that one. I give him that. Mm-hmm. And then when we came back, we were hungry again. So before we went into, I think we were going to IHOP, right? Before we went into IHOP, he checked on a guy who was in the car looking like he lived in his car. I was like, oh my gosh, and he's a good Samaritan. Oh my goodness, so amazing. And as they say, the rest is history. We ended up getting engaged, and you guys could, Google this on YouTube. I think we have like 12,000 views. Cass and Andy's surprise flash mob proposal. He proposed to me in New York City while he was speaking at a conference of a couple hundred women. He proposed to me via a flash mob. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Black Nativity, but it was the cast. It was the original choreographer of the Black Nativity with Angela Bassett's Black Nativity that led that whole thing. And they did a whole dance.
Nice.
I was like, wow, this is so amazing. They pulled me up on stage. I said, oh, you're pulling people out on stage. And then I realized I was the only one. I was like, wait a second. Ain't nobody else being pulled on stage. And he goes, I know you thought you were here to support me, but, I'd love for you to spend the rest of your life with me, that kind of thing. But I was snot-nosed crying. It was beautiful. And all of that led to a Mexico wedding with 80 of our closest friends and family over 4 days, which was just like beautiful. That's also on YouTube. And so, yeah, we've now been married. A long answer to, I think we've been married for about 6 years, 6 going on 7 years. Yeah.
No, that's so beautiful and it's so encouraging. He put some thought into that for real.
Mhm.
Like that is so amazing and I love it. And so, I just have about one or two more questions I want to ask you, and you don't have to go too into detail because I do believe and I know that you probably offer this as a service. And so I'm going to respect and honor that, a paid service. But as single mothers, we can get into this habit, and I'm not calling anybody out, I'm calling myself out too, but we can get into this habit of independency and so to speak this semi-masculine role because we're doing it, some mothers are doing it alone with no support. Some are still doing it with support but still have this masculine um vibe about them, so to speak. I had a friend of mine tell me, he was and I mean, it was funny then, but it really got me thinking. And he was like, dang, like, I wouldn't want to marry you because you're so masculine. He was like, where's your femininity? And I was like, excuse me? Like, wait a minute, I'm a hot commodity out here. I'm a catch. Don't do that. And, he broke it down to me. He was like, but you're just so ambitious. You're always just this. And he didn't say that me being ambitious was a bad thing, but he was like, where's your femininity? Like, are you going to allow a man to be the man? And so, like, how can we, and I just told all my business, but how can we, in so many words, I know because I know that you probably offer this as a paid service, but how can we get out of that mindset of bringing back that femininity and to be able to allow a man to come in and be a man and we still be the women and
I
feminine?
love it. Yeah. So I do have a masterclass on this on my website,
Mm-hmm.
where in the store section, all around how to dial into your feminine side. So the biggest part is to realize that, we put on, right? Single moms, right? So you put on all of these things that you have to do because you're the one doing everything, right?
Yeah.
So you have to raise the child or the children. You have to get the job done. You have to go to work. You have to do the plan. You have to be the house manager. You have to be all those things because it's just you. So now when a man comes into the picture, where is the room for the man?
Mm.
Where does
Mm.
a man get to be a man? Where does a man get to feel like he's needed, like he's wanted, like he's
Mm.
respected, right? And if you're of the belief of, I got this, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
need you, right? So you have to check yourself to say, okay, if I say I'd like a relationship and to have someone here, it is also the trust that comes with it and the vulnerability that needs to be practiced in order to let someone in. That would be the first part that I would definitely say to start with. Yeah.
So to be vulnerable, to
Mhm.
be open. But you said that in the beginning, to be open
Yeah.
and vulnerable again. But with that begins with healing in order
Yeah.
to become vulnerable. Wow, man, this
Mhm.
was so needful, Coach Cass. We really, really appreciate you for coming on and sharing your knowledge. Did you have any few last words, last thoughts?
Um,
Um,
just for all the single moms out there, no matter if you have one child, if you have six kids, like there is still love for you. I
mm,
specifically can think of people I know specifically that had one child, two kids, six kids that still found love, right?
wow.
A man that loves them for who they are, for who she is, for what she represents, for every single child, for every single hair on their head. So I don't want you to think of yourself as anything but a queen, as a gem, as a wanted woman. And I have a whole t-shirt line and bracelets and all that stuff to remind you that you are wanted. You are a wanted woman, a woman that achieves new triumphs every day, and it's so important for us to remind ourselves of these things because sometimes we forget, right? You get caught up in all the
Yeah.
things. You're like, man, I don't know if anybody gonna want all this drama. Listen, somebody out there wants you just the way you are. You are wanted. You are worthy of love. You are love. Yeah.
Wow, that was amazing and so encouraging for me, and I know it will be encouraging for the listeners who are going to listen to this episode. So, Coach Cass, how can the people get in contact with you? And again, if you all miss it, I will put it all in the description for you guys to be able to reach out to her and to seek her for whatever you may need.
Awesome. So essentially, I'm on Instagram at Inspire Many, INSPIREMANY. I'm Inspire Many on everything. So the website where you could get the bracelets, the t-shirts, the love deck, the masterclasses, all that good stuff is inspiremany.com. And if you're seriously interested in saying, you know what, I'd like support in my love journey, just feel free to send me a DM and let me know that you heard me here on the podcast. And I'd love to connect to support you.
Yes, awesome, amazing. And I am your host and founder, Clarion Brown. You can reach me at Dear Single Mama Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And my website is www.clariondenisha.com as well. If you have any topic suggestions, if you want to potentially be a guest on the show, you can shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram. And make sure you guys follow Coach Cass. I first heard her speak on Clubhouse. She's also on Clubhouse, and her husband, they were amazing. I just love their energy. You know, I'm a Christian, but you know, you can feel people's spirits, and it was just so much joy inside the room. I love their energy, their how they interacted with each other. I just absolutely loved it. And so, you guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dear Single Mom. Until next time, I am your host. Thank you so much, Coach Cass, again for joining us. We truly appreciate it. And thank you so much for your wisdom.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.